Football season is over, and on behalf of everyone at WagerTalk, we want to say thank you for the continued trust you put in our team of handicappers. Our ongoing success relies on the loyalty and support of customers like you. As a way to say thanks, from February 8th through the 14th, we're running a Customer Appreciation Week, and all daily pick packages at WagerTalk.com will be discounted to $9. And yes, of course, that includes any 5% best bets, normally priced at $40. Once again, thank you for your business and trust in the WagerTalk family.
All right, guys, here we go on this February the 11th. It is Thursday, and it is time for a very special edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show here, powered by WagerTalk.com. We've got 5 games in total in the association tonight. We're going to do our best to dabble a little bit in all 5 of them, including the Magic, Warriors, Heat, Rockets, Pacers, Pistons, Toronto, and Boston, and the Sixers in Portland. And we're going to do it with a very special group of folks here. In fact, this is right now the original cast of the very first NBA Tip-Off Show some 2 years ago. It started with Ski Profit up in the top, Rob Vino in the middle, and yes, he wasn't in jail at this time, Tony Finn back in the house. This is the original crew of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk. And gentlemen, pleasure to see all of you. This should be fun. Limited card, just 5 games. We'll touch base on all of them, but we do want to remind you guys, it is a very special day at WagerTalk as well, because it's Customer Appreciation Week. All week long, packages, $9 at WagerTalk.com, including Ski, Rob, Tony Finn, everybody at WagerTalk.com. Just their way of saying thank you guys very much for the support over the last couple of years. $9. The packages locked, loaded, ready to rock and roll. Let's bring them in. Ski, how you been, brother? We missed you yesterday, but how was your night, and what do you got going on for Customer Appreciation Week tonight?
Well, I haven't put up a package, but I guess I'll put one up after the show. I have sent out 3 plays to subscribers, and last night I added a couple too many plays at the end. It went a little bit backwards, but we're doing good in the last 30 days or so. We're up about 22 units, so we'll try to keep that going. And it's great to be good with the original cast, except for Tony Finn.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, but it's good to be back with y'all.
Woo! Already it's getting ugly here, Rob. You know, I didn't think, I thought we'd have to get a little into it before shots were fired. Not so much, my man, but you continue to dominate in the world of basketball, Rob. So has it been since the last time we spoke? And what do you got going on at WagerTalk?
Well, the NBA's been great, Joe. Since Monday, just this week, right? 8-2, last 3 days. So back to it, pounding out winners in the NBA. I think over the last 30 days, #1 at WagerTalk. So it's been good. NBA's been real good to me. As for today, once the show concludes, we will get the first play of the day up there. I tell you guys, it's been almost a ritual of mine now, with the exception, you never say never, because there's been a couple days when I have, but you got to wait around for that first injury report to come through. Holy cow. And like I say, it's just become a ritual of mine not to do anything early. Wait, sit on it, see what happens. And I think we're good to go with one right now. Certainly it'll be one that we talk about today, because we're going to talk about every game on the board. But great to be back with Mr. Sawbuck himself, the Russian middle, whatever else we want to call our partner down there, Tony Finn, and Ski, of course, with us, and not from, some rare location where we have to dig them up to find them.
You're in Motel 6. I just say it like it is. He's not on the road. He's not in his Motel 6. He's here with us here today, as is the legend, the man himself, Mr. Tony Finn, my friend. Welcome back to the show. Catch us up. How you been, and what do you got going on up at WagerTalk tonight?
Well, today is a good day. You know my mantra. When I wake up, it's a good day for me, not for most people. And it's good to see Ski. It's good to see everybody. Rob too. I didn't even hear Rob's voice when we were leading in with our pre-game banter for this show. And I'm still waiting for the outtakes of those shows, from yesteryear. and how funny they would be at sometimes. So, but that's when Ski was still drinking. Rob was putting overnights up, and we were laughing at all of them. So, and Rob couldn't be more right. Overnights over the last year have really decreased for me. They've killed me. Things are good, guys. NBA was not very good last night for me, but it's been good this week. And basketball and overall has been good this week. Last night was about a wash. So let's win today. Good to see you guys.
Let's do it here, guys. And we'll start with our contrarian play and game of the day. It was a winner last night, in fact, as the game was the Brooklyn Nets hosting the Indiana Pacers here. And boy, oh boy, the love, the tickets, the money certainly headed in Indiana's direction last night. And lo and behold, they figured out, they found some defense somewhere in Brooklyn. 17-7 now, the contrarian play of the day, the record here on the show. And the game today, which kind of fits that profile, is the Golden State Warriors hosting the Orlando Magic here. Magic up to 8 right now. Across many, many books, they're opened up somewhere around that 7 mark. It continues to go up as the tickets and the money continue to flow towards the Golden State Warriors. And I guess, Ski, we understand the move here, but at some point you got to scratch your head and say, look, is this a little too much movement here? 8 for Orlando. You willing to back the contrarian side, or is the home team or bust for you tonight?
Well, I think the line move is where it should be. I think you can even go another half a point. I have the game at 8.5, and the Magic. I mean, it's just what Vucevic and who else? They're 1-6 against the spread. The last 7. I don't see much to like from that Magic side. I think Vucevic could have a good day, but outside of that, I mean, they couldn't even cover what was it, 6 points versus Portland? They lost by 9. Portland, I mean, it's not a team you expect to win by margin, especially without McCollum and some other players they're missing. I like this Golden State team, even though they're missing their big man. They've covered, 6 of their last 9? They're 71 versus 45% teams or less. So that's the way I would look tonight. I don't think it's gone far enough just yet.
All right, and to your point there, Rob, the injury report would have to be one in this game that you'd want to check out before obviously making a decision, as the entire Orlando Magic team pretty much questionable at this particular point. But how do you approach this game here, the Orlando Magic? Is the number where it should be?
Yeah, if we're going to get the power ratings like Ski did right off the bat, I show Golden State -10, so I think there's room for it to move as well. Of course, that would be dependent upon what we find out, but boy, Orlando's backcourt, if in fact we don't get Evan Fournier back, if in fact Cole Anthony can't go, boy, they're in a lot of trouble. And actually, you know what? Oklahoma City had no point guard last night, and they were never in trouble, so maybe I shouldn't say that. But the guard position for Orlando, among others, obviously ravaged by injury. The Aaron Gordon situation, he's been out for a while. But the big advantage for them, of course, would be Vucevic in the middle against a 6'6" center of your choice from Golden State. Which one do you want? Do you want Draymond in the middle? Do you want Eric Pascal in the middle? Do you want Toscano Anderson in the middle? Somebody that Vucevic can chew up. And, again, I don't play a lot of player props, but I would have to believe that Nikola Vucevic is a pretty good look tonight in this matchup. It would have to be Golden State or nothing for me. Just a couple quick numbers here, guys. Orlando 4-13 against the spread. Last 17 games, last 5 losses by 9 or more, which means there probably is a little bit of room here in the spread. For Golden State, Steve Kerr's implored them to play some defense because he thinks that they're going to have to win with a little bit of defense. And 6 of the last 8 opponents that Golden State has played, they've held to 42.5% from the field or less. Those are good numbers defensively. Right now, Orlando not scoring points. So maybe a look toward the under, even though we know that Golden State, the first look should always be toward the over. But here in this situation, maybe not. Maybe a little look towards the under.
All right. And Tony, before you ask, Klay Thompson's not playing. But what do you like here tonight in the game? It's 8 points here. And to Rob's point, last night, Oklahoma City had 6 guys, 7 guys, and they still managed to keep it and take it to overtime against the Lakers. So How are you approaching this game tonight?
Both of my esteemed colleagues brought up good points. Vukovic in the middle there. That would be my first comment in this episode. This great show, the NBA show, was going to be anybody see Vukovic's props for tonight, because he's 27 points, I think 15 rebounds. I think at least for a shorthanded Magic team. The conundrum here for me, guys, is this, and that is Golden State going to probably play fast so that they don't have to run their half-court offense against Orlando, who, guys, we still rely on this team as a defensive team. Am I correct? Their defensive numbers are pretty bad this year compared to last year. Their offensive numbers are abysmal. I can't be on the contrarian side. I have to be, if I'm in this game, and I'm not, I would be on Golden State. Golden State's numbers at home are good. Their ATS numbers at home are good. And as Curry goes, so go the Warriors. And if you're going to tell me that Curry's going to be shut down tonight by this Orlando backcourt, this deep, healthy Orlando backcourt, I would disagree. So I'm gonna. And one last thing, Joe, because I know how much you like me to talk. Sometimes the Sharps, and they're on this game, and the public are on the same side. So I'm on Golden State if I'm in this game.
All right. Not willing to go contrarian across the board here, but then again, neither did anybody yesterday with Brooklyn. So let's go to game number 2 here. Featured matchup of the day. And we're going to talk a little Miami Heat here, guys, taking on the Houston Rockets. Interesting enough, this is kind of an interesting divide as well. The game opened up right around that 2.5, and it's 2.5 and 2 in many places. That total has come down. I'm seeing a lot of 215s right now across the board. So, Rob, I'm going to come to you. It's not been great for Miami backers, certainly against the number. Only 2-7 in their last 9, and they find themselves as a favorite here on the road in Houston. So, what say you? How do you approach this game tonight?
Yeah, a little bit weird to me, Joe. But again, the center position for the opponent could be a dominant position tonight, right? Bam Adebayo, with Christian Wood hurt the last 3 games or so and out for an indefinite amount of time. He should have a nice day here, Adebayo. Again, I don't dabble in props, but I'm kind of rattling them off here tonight. Centers in the first 2 games should be good. I think both of these teams, guys, they have identical numbers over their last 9 games in terms of over-under. They're both 6-3 to the under their last 9 games. And it's explainable for both, right? Because it's been injury-ridden for both sides here. In fact, tonight, I think the first time in the last 3 games, it could be 4, but I think it's 3. It's the first time where we'll get Oladipo, Wall, and Eric Gordon all on the floor in the same game. It looks, I'm assuming John Wall, who's listed as probable, will go here. That bodes well for Houston's offense, which still likes to shoot threes, which still can be an up-tempo offense under Steven Silas. And for Miami, it's been a while for these guys to try and, mesh again. And so for Miami, I think the offense comes around here against Houston. I don't go along with the move on this total toward the under. I really don't. I think this game will be higher scoring. Understand what's going on lately. But again, I think I can explain all that away because of injury. The one key for Miami, of course, is when Dragic doesn't play, you worry a little bit about offense. But the night Adebayo should have, the night Jimmy Butler could have here with Tyler Hero and the shooters back all in full force, I think this game gets over the number.
All right, Tony, it's an interesting move from the standpoint of I'm seeing a lot of tickets and a lot of money going Miami, but this line ain't moving. It ain't moving anymore towards Miami here. Maybe a little bit of a pro versus Joe divide here. How do you see it?
No, I think it's a good point, Joe. In fact, go back, I hate to jump back, but there hasn't been a lot of tickets written on that Golden State game either. And maybe it's today that there's not a lot of tickets yet. We'll find out as the day goes on. But I guess, can I say, are we officially in agreement here that Bradley and Dragic are both out for this game? Is that correct?
Yes, it's yes.
Okay. Listen, Miami's a pretty tough nut for me to crack. I haven't played on them. I haven't played against them yet this year, simply because, and I think evidence of that should be recently after the sweeping New York, going 0-2. against the spread in the process. To be an NBA's worst. I think they're the worst, aren't they? 7-15 ATS. This Miami team.
Yep.
Now they go to play a Rockets team that they haven't been tough for me to figure out, and that is without Wood, the replacement value or replacement above wins for Wood is showing up right now. If people don't buy it, then they're not paying attention. So if you look at what happened to Houston in the paint, in a recent game where they gave up 60 points in the paint, and Silas basically said that you guys aren't playing the same defense you played 2 weeks ago. I'm a little surprised, and you guys can, call me crazy if you want. You've done it many times. I was surprised to see defense, the ranking for Houston defensively, to be as high as it was, even though we're shallow, basically into the regular season. But this is a game where if Miami's going to play well, all the pieces are there, at least as far as who they're facing, to do such. So if I'm on this game and I'm not again, I would be on the Heat here. I would.
Is it me, Ski and Rob, or are you noticing how incredibly lucid here Tony Finn is in today? So I don't know whether they've got the Thorazine levels right or what's going on here, but whatever it is, Finn, keep it up, man. Keep it up. Well done, my friend.
That will. I won't now. Tell me to do something, I won't do it.
I'm just saying, whatever it is, keep the dosage the right levels there. Ski, talk to me, my man. I get the under move since both of these teams have been pretty profitable to the under here over the last month. But how do you approach this game, side or total tonight?
Yeah, Rob kind of listed off most of the trends, so I don't got to repeat them. And I think initially the number moved the right way. The number I have for the game is like 218, but at some point it's going to get too low. And we know Houston wants to play up tempo. Their game plan is to get stops and run in transition. And Miami, they're the opposite. They're playing slower, so it's tough. But I do think the value maybe now on the over. I look at it more from the side though, and the guys kind of already touched on the importance of Christian Wood. And I mentioned about the Heat. Like you said, I think my best bet last on the show was the Knicks versus the Heat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I said, I don't want the Heat until they start to show me some kind of consistency. And well, they've won 3 in a row. They haven't been covering, but they face a Houston team who's lost 3 straight, and they still don't have Christian Wood. So I don't even care that Oladipo's in, Wall is in, and Gordon are all in together. I think they need Christian Wood, so I like the Miami side.
Interesting.
And if I have to play a prop on this one, I'll probably, since Rob is already beating me to some props, I would play Tyler Herro over 4.5 rebounds. He averages about 6, and this Houston team is last in the league in rebounding over the last 5 games. And he had 6 rebounds the last game, 7 rebounds game for that. I think he can get to 5 in this one.
Interesting. It'll be also interesting to see too if how Houston comes out first half in this game. We've seen that their ability to disappear and then have to come back second half like Miami. So it'll be an interesting game there tonight. Heat taking on the Houston Rockets. We're going to focus on Detroit taking on the Indiana Pacers here. This game opened up at 3.5 here, and total right around that 217 mark, although I'm seeing 215s, even a couple of 216s right now in the market. The spread right around 3.5, kind of holding strong, but we don't have to tell you about the Pacers last night, right? I mean, we don't have to talk about that debacle over there. So, Tony Finn, as long as the Thorazine levels are at the level they should be right now, let's get some more lucid thoughts from you on this Pacers team. Is it a bounce-back situation in your mind?
What show is this? Here we go. No, I'm one of those lucid people that were on the Pacers yesterday. Now let's go back 2 days. Let's go to Tuesday. I liked Detroit in that situation they were in against the Nets, and surprise, I was right. I thought this. I don't care who tells Harden. I don't care who tells Irvin to play defense. I just never believe they're going to play it. And so you guys, I'll differ with this. Joe, you mentioned that looked like the Pacers maybe were stopped by the Nets. And I'm not saying you said that, but I think it was more about the Pacers yesterday than it was about the Nets. If you believe the Nets going to play defense, and hold somebody under 100 points. The rest of the year, it would probably be Orlando or the Knicks or somebody like that because I don't believe it and I refuse to believe it. So that said, I like Dwayne Casey as a home dog, even if Blake Griffin is relatively about 5'11" or 6'11". He's invisible and has been. LeVert Turth, health in question. Really, Indiana was the only team in that trade, the Harden trade, that came away with nothing, at least so far. So in this game, the way the Pacers played yesterday, losers a 5 out of 6, playing the second of a back-to-back. I think you're supposed to be on Detroit. There it is.
I knew you were eventually going to get there, and I thought, wow, this was we're breaking down a Brooklyn Nets team that's not even playing, nor are we even talking about them. But you did 5 minutes on Brooklyn Nets and I don't even know where you were, but you got to Detroit, and that's what matters there.
Thank you.
Ski, talk to me here, my friend, in this game. It is a tough spot. I don't know if Dennis Smith Jr. playing tonight. I don't know what's going on with that, but I think they do have a few more options from a depth standpoint, Detroit tonight. How do you see this going down?
God damn, Joe. I'm blaming you. You have to tell him what to do. Don't tell Tony Fan what to do.
No, don't. I mean, there's one common denominator between the two teams that are playing tonight, and in the last 2 nights, it was the Nets. I thought it was a pretty good dialogue.
Well, it was good for the first 3 words. Then after 2 minutes on the Brooklyn Nets, you just defeated the purpose. Go ahead, Ski.
Go Nets.
You know I got to give you a hard time, Tony. But
no, I know. Power lesbians.
Can Detroit get their first 2-game win streak of the season? I mean, it's a good opportunity for them. Indiana, they've looked bad lately. They've lost, 4 in a row? Lost 6 of their last 7. And Pacers, they've only covered 3 of their last 13 games. And the Pistons have covered the last 4 meetings against the Pacers, but I still think it's a buy low spot on Indiana. If Brooklyn came to play like they did, Indiana is not as good as Brooklyn. So I'm not going to look at that too much. I think this is a buy low spot on Indiana. And I kind of talk about, I usually like to play them versus these lesser teams, but they haven't really been good this year. 3-6 versus less than 45% win teams. If I go back to last year and I'm looking at them, they thrived in this role. So I like the Pacers to beat Detroit. Going back for Detroit, when they won their last game and they're playing at home, they've only covered 1 of the last 8. That's since the beginning of the last season. I don't think they get 2 wins in a row, and I don't think they cover the number.
Rob, I'm looking at this, the market movement all day here. It kind of went to Detroit, then it kind of bounced back, a little buyback here on Indiana. But this total, I guess if there's going to be value anywhere, it's going to be people watch what Indiana did in the 12-point quarter last night and go, they ain't going to score any points here. Where do you see the value in this game?
Well, I think situationally, Joe, and this game probably is as situational as any tonight. Indiana has shot 39% 2 games straight. Generally speaking, NBA teams don't do that 3 games in a row. And especially when you have guys that have offense, the caliber of offensive player that they have, they shouldn't be shooting 39%. Now, if I combine that with the fact that Detroit's defense has been absolutely miserable, there's nothing to brag about for Detroit on the defensive side. Last 7 games they've played, they've allowed 49% or better in 5 of those. In 4, it's been 50% or better. So everybody shoots well lately, just about everybody, against the Pistons. I think Indiana could be in for a good offensive night here. Will Indiana get, outscored by 24 at the free throw line like they did last night against the Nets? I think it was 31-7 discrepancy in free throw points last night in that game. Probably doesn't happen here. Detroit against Brooklyn. Tony used the comparison of these 2 teams against Brooklyn in each of their last 2 games, right? Against Brooklyn, Detroit shoots 56% from the field. It's a mirage. They've shot 50% or better 3 times all year. That 56 was by far their best of the season. The next best they show up with is 50.5. So they've only done it 3 times. I doubt they get back to it here against this team. You look at them and you could say, yeah, they're 3-1 against the spread last 4. Not sure that I'm buying it because we know Brooklyn, Tony Finn, once again pointed out they're a miserable defensive team. Understandable, Detroit could cover there. And the cover against the Lakers, come on, have the Lakers been interested in a game in any of their last 3? They haven't at all. They've been taken to overtime by Detroit and Oklahoma City last 3. I just think situationally this sets up real well for Indiana. Could set up 4 and over. But I think the Pacers probably the right side here. And DSJ, to your point, Joe, probably going to play here. I don't know that helps anything for this team. He's got to come in and learn some chemistry off the bench with the team. So I probably would look at Indiana, hope that Jeremy Grant doesn't kill me, and hope that Sabonis, for Indiana has a big night for the other side.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Hey,
we'll
Joe.
see how
Hey,
much.
Joe.
Yes, Tony.
Hey, let me just throw something in here and ask these guys because I think
Is it about the Brooklyn Nets?
It can be.
Okay,
It
no,
damn
let's
sure
not.
as hell
Go ahead,
can.
go.
Because
Yeah.
both of my esteemed colleagues mentioned the Nets too, didn't they? But none of them got any shit for it. Okay, here we go. Here's my question to you. The trade of Derrick Rose, does it make this Pistons team a little more energetic? They're not going to be better defensively. I think we know that. Rob brought that up. Is it make it more energetic? Do the young kids get in there and try to impress coach? Do they? I'm not saying they're going to play better. Can they play faster? They play looser? They play worse? They play better? How much worse can it be, guys?
Better, I'm going to say no. Energetic?
No.
Probably so, because Dennis Smith has to try to keep himself in the league. He was just headed to the G League, so he's going to try to do everything he can. So
Yeah.
Energetic, yes.
But that was just a question I thought. I think it's I'm going to be watching for certain. Absolutely.
So who are you going with, the Nets? Okay, good. Let's move on to the next game here. Next game up, and I do want to remind you guys, as long as you are suffering through this with us, we certainly do appreciate you. So does Wager Talk. So it is Customer Appreciation Week here at WagerTalk.com. That means $9 packages. That's right, $9 up and locked and loaded at WagerTalk.com. Ski's going to have it up there. You got Rob Vino and, of course, Tony Finn. Get him while he actually remembers his password. Get in there, guys. Get there right now at WagerTalk.com. It's just the least we can do for you having to sit through this. All right, let's go. One more Raptors Celtics before we get to our overtime game. Interesting teams here. And then, Ski, I'm going to come to you. This opened up at a 3.5 mark. I'm still seeing the 3.5s. The total has come down a little bit here. I'm seeing 221s and 220s across the market, but it seems like we've got teams going in different directions here, Ski. Raptors, big win last night. They really have, certainly from an offensive standpoint, have got it going. The Celtics, that was a brutal road trip. No way around it. They're home. A lot of games in a short period of time here, but how do you have these two teams going at it tonight?
Well, if you're big on revenge, it's a revenge spot for the Raptors. I will say I like how Norman Powell has been playing. I'm big on I like shooters, and he's been lights out from 3-pointer. I think he's like 43% Like you mentioned, Boston hasn't been playing well lately, and you mentioned about Toronto's offense. Over the last 5 games, they've been number 1 offensive rated team. They've been winning. They've been covering. Offense has been better. Defense has been better. And maybe you're supposed to be scared of them because they're on a back-to-back, but I've been looking at teams this year. I kind of just been monitoring because this year is different. Teams that play, they played it. They're an away dog, and they played the last game on the road. And it's back-to-back, 17 and 11 so far against the spread. That's about 60.5%, I think. That's Toronto Raptors today. I think they could possibly keep it close. I think this is a game that they'll definitely get up for. And at the same time, it's supposed to be a flat spot for Boston coming off that 5-game or more road trip. Teams in that situation since the beginning of last season are only covering 39.5% of the time. So I would fade Boston tonight and back the Raptors.
They've been good at home, Rob. This Celtics team, both and also against the number there. They need a win. Let's just face it. They need to get something going here. How much do you trust them in this spot against the red hot Raptors?
Joe, if they weren't off of that road trip, which was like 5 games in 8 days, right? Then they get a day to fly home, and now they got to play again. But I'm going to be redundant here, and all 4 of us were together. I think, as I kept saying this, maybe it was Merrill. I'm not sure. Steve Merrill might have been hosting, but Toronto can't guard Boston. I go back to the bubble. In a game where Toronto was rattling through that schedule, they meet up with Boston, who was playing horribly, and Boston lit them up. They got to that playoff series, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown lit them up. They played once this year. Jason Tatum went for 40. They started in that game Tremont Waters at point guard, the Celtics did. Peyton Pritchard made his first appearance on the scene in that game and scored 23. Toronto cannot guard Boston, especially their stars. So I expect Boston to score points here tonight. I really do. Again, the situation backs me off. I mean, if this had been a nice scheduling spot for Boston, I would be all over the Celtics in this game, especially at this price. Toronto's been really good offensively lately. Their last 7 games have been against defensive juggernauts: Sacramento, Orlando, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Memphis, and the Wizards. You can't find worse defensive opposition than what I just rattled off. Fred VanVleet has been calling for his team to play more defense. Twice now in the last 3 games, I've seen quotes from Fred VanVleet. We need to play better defense. 32.25 is unacceptable. But still, guys, in their last 8 games, 7 of those 8, they've given up 113 or better, anywhere between 113 and 132. And because they've been able to outscore their weak defensive opponents, they've gotten some wins there. You know, I came into this season, I did a show with Ski. Again, let's let's repeat this one, Ski. A preview show that never came off the cutting room floor. But on that show, I thought Toronto was a good season win total over bet. They didn't get out of the gates good. I'm all about Toronto. But in this matchup, boy, I don't know, guys. Like I say, Toronto can't guard these guys. It's been proven now, I think, more than a small sample size. I'm still lightly with the Celtics here, despite the scheduling situation. I think they'll get it done.
I'm feeling a sawbuck coming up here in a second. So, Tony, let me get where you're leaning in this game. Something tells me you're going in the opposite way of Rob Vino here. But who do you like in this matchup?
First off, both of these guys kind of set up and humor me because I'll probably take 20 minutes on this little part here. I wasn't in that pregame, so it did not get off the cutting room floor because of me. Right, guys? I wasn't in there.
You're probably right, Tony.
There you go. And secondly, to Ski's point and what Rob said, Toronto's played Atlanta, Memphis, Washington last 3 games. So while they have played better, I don't put a whole lot of weight on that. I just won't. Save Marcus Smart and save situationally. Both of these teams, I can argue both ways. Save Marcus Smart. This is the Boston Celtics that we are going to get moving forward. I say this because, yes, Smart is a key emotional piece to the MO of the Celtics group. And equally as important is that Smart has the influence, really, when it comes to setting the tone of the game. I mean this by, are the Celtics going to play fast? Are they going to be deliberate? In Smart's case, are they going to play the role of the bully? Or are they just better skill set and man-wise than their opponent? Smart's a pretty important piece to Boston. Now, that said, Toronto was up and down the floor all night last night with who? Washington. They got to do their 5K and probably ran their fastest 5K this year so far. Having only 1 day's rest in the 5-game Western Conference trip isn't ideal for Boston. However, they get Toronto, who, as Rob said, and Ski have mentioned too, Toronto plays pace and space. That's what they do. And Boston has eaten that. Not only has Boston eaten that alive, they have torched Toronto. Toronto cannot match up. And we haven't talked about it, but that tonight, I can argue both cases, but Boston is, I think, the best bet on the board. So you're wrong, Joe. I agree with Rob.
That was less than 20 minutes. That was impressive. That was absolutely. It's early yet, though. It's early. We still got the overtime game to get to here. Actually, one more game on the card here. Guys, it is our overtime game, and the game that's left, it could very well be an over situation. 76ers taking on the Trailblazers. This game is hovering right around that 230, 229 and a half mark. It is the highest total on the board here tonight. Can't say that is a shock on the card, but man, this Sixers team's on a roll. They've won 6 of their last 7. And there's only one team they lost to in that streak, and, oh, yeah, they're playing them here tonight, Rob Vino. So Talk to me. A little revenge on the mind. The Sixers have been rolling, man. There's no way around it. But is this a game in the 230s in your mind?
I'm not sure, Joe. I mean, the other night against Sacramento, I had over 231.5. They left me at the altar with 230. And the game against Sacramento probably could have gotten over the number. And it was a big first half. Remember, guys, I think that score at halftime was 74-63, 137 first half points. And then Philly decided to put the clamps down on defense and did a pretty good job of it against, a talented offensive team in Sacramento. Portland doesn't have that same offensive talent. We know their defensive capabilities are zero, but so are the Kings for that matter. I just don't know that Portland is the same scoring unit right now that, they were when they last played Philadelphia. Certainly a night off for Damian Lillard always helps, but Lillard has been complaining of not one, not two, but 3 separate injuries over the course of the last, 7 to 10 days. So he's playing a little bit banged up. So will Philly be playing a little bit banged up. They'll lose Shake Milton. But again, I just think that if they play defense the way they're capable of for maybe one quarter here against Portland, then it's real hard to reach 230. I don't know that I'm willing to get to the window with under, but if I had to make a play one way or the other here, I think I'd rather play under than over. Philadelphia's been out west for a couple of days now. We'll see. Embiid likely has a nice night. Cantor can be somewhat of a pest, but not all that much. I just don't think that Portland's able to score the way they scored when they were more healthy, and certainly they haven't been healthy for a while now.
Yeah, it's Tony, do you think the Trailblazers can do their part and add enough from a scoring perspective here to be in the 230s and hit the over on this one, or you more leaning towards the under in this one?
There's one other game we spoke to. There's a conundrum. That's the Boston game as far as the total goes for me, and because I don't know. I have a hard time wrapping my arms around Portland. Not so much Philly, but Portland. I'm sure the Blazers won. What was it, 121-105 guys when they were playing without Lillard and McCollum, Williams and Nurkic. They were rested. It was a second of back-to-back for 76ers. What people don't say or they don't talk about is that Doc decided to sit Simmons. He didn't even allow Curry really to play in the second half of that game. If you'll look at the box score, if you didn't watch the game, I think, listen, the Blazers might want to say that wasn't an aberration, us beating Philly without Lillard, et cetera. I don't think anyone in the NBA if you put a team on a mantle, or at least on two mantles, and you're going to compare the two, McCollum is one of the hardest guys in the NBA for a roster. At least Portland can't replace him. I mean, Lillard's important. He's the best player on that team, but McCollum, if he's not in the game, I run from Portland like I would run from a guy, dressed put in a dress and trying to, wave me over. I'm going to run hard and fast, and I do. So that said, I am not going to shy away from Philly tonight. I think you're going to see Curry. I think you're going to see Simmons. I think you're going to see this Philadelphia team who is kind of they're a pretty proudful bunch. They have an ego, and I'm certain that they would like to rub it in and beat the crap out of Portland in Portland tonight. That's just me.
Did you say you were running from a man in a dress? What?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I run from Portland like I run from you if you're in a dress.
Okay, I wasn't. I was trying to put
600 running
yeah,
from
Call me homophobic. I don't know, but I'm running from your ass.
Listen, power to lesbians. Here we go. Let's talk to me, Ski, because I knew we'd eventually get to you. Probably should have came to you first. Well, go ahead and tell me, my man. Philadelphia taking on Portland. Do you trust Portland in order to be able to put up enough points to get this thing in the over?
I don't. And really quick, I mean, Portland has been playing better defense lately. Maybe that's why they've been covering numbers. But I think it was Tony or maybe it was Rob, but pointed out the lack of playmaking and scoring for Portland without McCollum and without Nurkic. Like, Cantor, he's cool. He can get some points sometimes, but his lack of vision, like, it's people wide open on the three-point line, and he's just pounding, trying to get a layup. So if Philly, like you said, like a couple of them said, I mean, like, off of the loss, the revenge angle, they're going to want to play defense. That's their identity. And if you get the ball out of Lillard's hand, I don't see the Blazers having very much success. So Philly, I know they went over 12 of their last 18. I know Portland's went over 7 of their last 10, but Philly plays more towards the under at home, 7-5. And I think they bring the defense tonight. So the number I have is 227. I would go under.
Yeah, that first game, too, Embiid had 37, but Cantor had like 18 boards in that game. It was unbelievable. I don't know if he'll have that kind of game as well, but it's an interesting number hovering right around that 229 and a half mark. So that'll be fun to watch. One of the late games here on the card tonight. Limited card, 5 games. We just broke them down for you, all 5, which means it's time for our buzzer beater. Our best bets here around the horn with these guys. You know how it works. We throw 60 seconds up on the clock. They can do whatever they want with those 60 seconds, provided they give us a best bets. They go over the time. Well, Tony's going to go over the time. You'll see what happens then at that particular point. So, Ski, I can trust you. Ball handling skills, turnaround jumpers, not a problem, man. Come on, talk to me. 60 seconds on the clock. Where you going with the best bet tonight?
Well, first off, I forgot to mention, we talked about who Toronto's been playing, that they don't play much defense. Boston hasn't been playing any defense lately either. Last 5 games, the sixth worst defensive rated team. So maybe we expect points in that game, but I just wanted to point out that Boston's another team that's not playing any defense. So I still expect the number 1 offensive rated team the last 5 games to have success. So give me a sawbuck, damn it. That's what I'm saying. And
Okay, well,
He's got 30 seconds. Check your pie hole.
my best bet
Okay, go ahead.
is going to be on. I'm going to be halfway against the contrarian. I'm not going to take the full game because the full game number is kind of close to where my number is. But I like the first half. And Magic 5-7 on the first half on the road. Warriors 10-3 first half against the spread at home. And I'm looking at the first half margin. On the road, Orlando minus 7.2. Golden State at home plus 5.8. Give me Golden State minus 4 on the first half.
Oh! Nothing but net, my friend. Very, very. See, that's how you do it, Ski. And you had to deal with a lot of crowd noise, too, with some unruly fan. You had like a streaker coming across in front of you. So good job there, Ski. Appreciate that. Did you have something to say, sir? Was there something we can help you with? Okay, that's what I thought. Rob Vino, you're up next, my man. 60 seconds on the clock. You know how it works. It's 60-second best bet time. Rob, come on, drill it. Tell us who you going with tonight.
Yeah, I'll go back to the Boston-Toronto game, Joe, and I'll play over the 220.5. I mean, the numbers come down somewhat. I think you can take advantage of that. Again, Toronto can't guard these guys, so I expect points to come from Boston. Toronto's been red hot offensively as of late. If you combine that with the fact, like Ski just said, Boston, even though they played better opposition, they've been great defensively. But Toronto's lighting it up from 3, guys. Especially Fred VanVleet has been crazy from the 3-point line lately. So I think that both of these sides get their share of points. Boston, to me, is the better team in the matchup. But 220.5 just looks too small. I think this game gets to 225 or better. So give me Boston, Toronto up and over that number of 220.5. I just think the line's going the wrong way.
Oh, we're going to have plenty of time left, too. That's good. Just less time for Tony Finn, so you're good to go there. Well done, Rob.
And I'm running from
done.
a man in a dress.
Yes, I'm still, just that visual right now is really tough for me. Go ahead. Here it is, man. Tony Finn, the moment we've been waiting for, my friend. 60 seconds on the clock. No, not on the start. On the start. We want to give you as much time as humanly possible. Go.
Well, since I really already went over my best when I spoke about Boston and who they are, and despite that they're without Smart, and I wanted to talk to Ski about the fact that he said, well, Boston hadn't played defense. Well, Boston's schedule was much more difficult. Let's put it this way. Their last 3 games, LA, Phoenix, Utah. It's a little bit different than Atlanta, Memphis, and Washington, isn't it, sir? Boston's a play tonight. They're a play tonight. It's the Toronto team that showed. I mean, granted, yeah. Raptors would love to show that they aren't who they were during last year's series against Boston, but that is who they are. In fact, they're not as good this year as they were then. And Fred VanVleet might want to be this team leader, but does he really does he really present himself? Do you believe him as a leader? Boston wins by double digits tonight, with or without Marcus Smart.
Oh, we're going to have to go to the videotape on that. I'm not sure that was a shot. Can we take a review here, Chris? Can you throw it up? Let's take a look at the tape, see what happened.
Challenge.
Yep, let's see what it looks like here. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Oh, brick! Total brick! Sorry, Finn, you didn't make it, man. Absolutely.
Don't apologize. No need to apologize.
That was terrible.
I made it.
In honor of the original NBA crew too, we have a special. We got a special pick too. Our world famous Shits and Giggles parlay is coming. Let's take a look at what we got with Skido. Ski going half a contrarian, sort of. Warriors laying 4 in the first half. Take it against Orlando. Rob is going to go over 220.5 in this one with the Raptors and Celtics. And Tony Finn, he likes the Celtics laying 3.5. And in honor of Tony Finn, we one of the original segments that we had in the NBA Tip-O Show was the end of show Shits and Giggles parlay, moneyline parlay. And tonight we are going Houston and Boston. Tony, what do you think? Houston, Boston, moneyline parlay tonight. You in?
I'm in. I don't like Houston, but I'm in because you got Boston, so I got a 50-50 shot. Yeah.
Ski?
I'm out. Give me a sawbuck.
He wants his damn songbox. Unbelievable. All right. Here, what you can get.
Is that all?
No, what? Yeah, keep it down. You're lucky I went with Boston. Everyone else doesn't like you. All right, so guys, we've got, don't forget, customer appreciation time at Wager Talk. Head over there right now, guys. $9 packages. Even Tony's packages are $9. I can't believe it. $9. Best bets happening right now. Get over to Ski's page. Get over to Rob Dino's page. And yes, go over to Tony Finn's page. Grab the best bets all week long here, guys. The customer appreciation will be in effect. So on behalf of Ski Profit and Rob Vino and the man himself, as the Thorazine starts to wear off, that would be Tony Finn. Guys, look at him. Oh, I can't. He's still running from a guy in a dress. It's unbelievable. Hit that bell in the right-hand corner, guys. Come back and join us tomorrow. We'll get to make fun of Tony Finn once again and watch as the Shits and Giggles parlay cashes, and we'll break them all down again tomorrow. So best of luck, guys. Thanks for making us a part of your day. We'll see you tomorrow.
I have pictures of Joe in a dress.
Oh!
Conference play in college hoops and the NBA and NHL are in action. Our golf handicappers prove that golf matchups can be beat, and our NASCAR guys can't wait until February 14th for the Daytona 500. Toss in soccer, MMA, and even player props, and the experts at SportsMemo have you covered. Get select SportsMemo handicappers for a full week, 7 days of all access, all just for $49 each. You heard me right, just $7 per day. Get every pick they release in every sport, including any 5% best bet. To redeem this offer, just go to sportsmemo.com, choose your handicapper, and use coupon NEXT49 when purchasing a 7-day all-access pass. This coupon has limited use, but expires this Sunday with no exceptions, so act fast.